Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Super excited to be hosting you for today's session on discovering the power of seamless data and compliance for advisors. And this session is being brought to you today by SmartRIA and BridgeFT. I would like to start off by welcoming today's presenters. Our first presenter, Mac of SmartRIA. Mac, would you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am the CEO of SmartRIA. We have been in business since January of 2016, and we have about 2,200 RIAs using our platform today.
Great, thanks so much, Mac. And I would also like to turn it over to our other presenter, Shannon of BridgeFT. Shannon, would you tell the group a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So hello, my name is Shannon Sullivan here at Bridge Financial Technologies. I'm the VP of Sales, but I have an extensive history in the background working with RIAs in the market space, not only from the custodial point of view, working with Schwab, but also in the technology space, trying to support financial advisors on making the right decisions around technology. And look forward to talking a little bit more about Bridge and SmartRIA today.
Great, thanks so much, Shannon. So before we dive into the content of today's presentation, just wanted to firstly go through the agenda. We're going to start off in section 1 by looking at some of the most common data and compliance challenges and concerns we're seeing firms face, especially as they're in growth mode or scaling. After we go through some thoughts on those in part 2, we'll go ahead and look at a step-by-step solution to streamline firms' operations. And then finally, we will end with a Q&A session. So I did want to bring to everyone's attention that as we're going through the content today, you are able to submit your questions using the questions tool in the Zoom platform. So go ahead and take advantage of that. Thank you, everyone. And we're going to go ahead and start diving into part 1 on compliance and data. And Shannon, if you want to kind of kick us off with some thoughts around advisor tech stacks and some challenges firms face in that area.
Sure. You know, in this graph is very interesting because over as the years have progressed, there's been more and more technology that's rolled out to the market space for financial advisors to support their business. When I started off, it was really CRM, financial planning, and portfolio management. Maybe a little of on the trading and rebalancing side, but as things have continued to progress in the market space, the amount of technology that's available for advisors to solve problems has continued to grow. And sometimes it becomes very difficult for advisors to make decisions around what's the technology that they want to use to support their business. And we look at this list. This is an extensive list that's available for advisors to select from. And if you ever look in the market space for a lot of the news in the market space around RIA technology, if you ever looked at on a website from Michael Kitces, who is the is at XYPN Planning Network, you'll see this incredible list of technology that is out and available for advisors in the market space. And sometimes I feel like that's almost going to create a paralysis for an advisor to ever make a decision around what's the right technology for them to use, or what's the newest technology that's going to help them support and grow their business. And maybe some advisors have gone through a very significant migration and know the burden of that transition that is put on them also. So those are some of the things that we want to talk about. In regards to this graph that we're showing here, so Bridge Financial Technologies falls more in the lines of portfolio management and client portal. So we provide a software as a service platform for financial advisors to leverage the technology for their advisors and their clients to access their information and for you to execute on that management fee billing process on behalf of operating your business. But also the key aspect is sharing that information also. And as we scroll down a little bit farther after we get past document management, we see the proliferation of compliance and how it has become such a key component for advisors to support their business, and how the technology tools in the market space like SmartRIA are supporting advisors. And we think about this transition of leveraging something like this to support their business. And many times I would talk with advisors and they would talk about, well, what's the cost of something like this? Well, there's a value proposition here when thinking about leveraging technology. And sometimes I think more in the specifically along the lines of compliance, we need to start thinking about that financial risk and that reputational risk of running an appropriate compliance program for financial advisors. So I'm going to hand it over to Mac and talk a little bit about some of those key components that we need to think about from a compliance standpoint.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shannon. So, compliance is not a one-size-fits-all problem. There are nuances and quite a few of them based on the business model that your firm has, but there certainly are some consistencies too. And so complete books and records, complete client files, these are pretty straightforward requirements. But sometimes, especially when you have people using different CRMs and you're using a system like Dropbox or Box.com that may not be completely locked down and set up so that it maintains a strict structure that makes sure you know where everything is. It's easy to put things in the right place. That's where a solution like SmartRIA comes in, where the document management solution that's built in is specifically for books and records purposes, where items are kept for the appropriate amount of time, they're worm compliant, and et cetera. You have also the effective supervision of IARs is really critical because as we are more and more virtual, it becomes harder to have a really clear picture of what's going on within your organization, especially if you're growing, which of course we hope everyone is. Becomes tough to be able to manage effective supervision. Fiduciary oversight, it's one of, if not the key component of the RIA industry. You need to have a solution that's allowing you to oversee and surveil that fiduciary duty is being met on a client by client and account by account basis. Then just the entire program needs to have a good workflow that is sustainable and organized and easy for everyone to understand.
Got it. Thanks so much, Mac. And then I think that brings us kind of into our next point, which is looking at some of the challenges on the data side when it comes to firms that are growing and scaling. Shannon, would you speak a little bit about kind of what you've seen some firms experiencing on that front?
Yeah, and this is almost like the holy grail of the industry. How do we have data that is consistent and shareable across the technology and tools that we use today, so we can have a consistent look into what is the real data component of what we're trying to review? And historically, it's been the biggest challenge because platforms or in technology is kind of built in a silo, not really thought about sharing that information to other their technology tools within the market space. And there was a big effort in the past about trying to solve this problem. And it was from Joel Bruckenstein and some colleagues that created Your Silver Bullet. And they were trying to solve this problem about sharing data to have the technology tools become better situated about sharing that information so advisors know really what is the truth around that. And that's continued to struggle through the market space. But as of late, we've seen a lot of changes, and those changes are really coming down to the development and adoption of APIs. Everybody talks about APIs and what are they? And that's really the opportunity for technology to be able to share that baseline information into other tools across the market space. So one example that we talk about in the sampled, in the same data in multiple locations, very simple one that we see today is an address, right? Well, the custodian has the address of that information. It's part of what you do when you onboard a new client. And then you also have to update that address whenever a client moves to a different location. Should it be in the same city? Or maybe it's even to a different state. But then we also have that that address probably located in the portfolio accounting system, because historically advisors were sending a quarterly report that would be printed out and sent over to that end client so they could review those details. And then the CRM would have that too. And then maybe we would have multiple addresses, because sometimes, clients that are at retirement, or even today with the change of COVID, people have been moving around. So maybe they Airbnb'd for a little bit of time and had a different address for a while. So this aspect of having the same data in multiple locations becomes a way to, how do we share that information? It really does come down to the APIs. And then as we continue to grow the business, I've even seen the incredible proliferation of trying to bring data to get together. People are out building data warehouses. They're trying to say, how do I access this information and bring this all together? I've worked with firms that are bringing all of their information into a data lake and trying to do access all of this information through something like a product like Tableau or Power BI. So as you continue to grow, the access of data and trying to understand that data has become more and more of a problem for advisors to kind of manage and control that information. And that's, once again, comes back to the aspect, if you have APIs, this is where you can share the data. And this is a great example of how SmartRIA and Bridge Financial Technologies work together by sharing this information through an API, where SmartRIA takes that information from us and is able to achieve the success that they have on finding that information from one common area. And that's going to be the Bridge Financial Technologies. So they can look at this transactional details, and they don't have to go across all of these different data sources from a custodian or a portfolio accounting system to access that information and view those details. So I think it kind of gives you a high level idea of kind of the challenges of going on with data in the market space today, especially with it in the RIA space.
Yeah, I think both Shannon, you and Mac made some great points on some of the challenges firms are facing as they scale, which is going to lead us really smoothly into our next section around, well, as a firm that's growing or looking to streamline, what can you do to kind of simplify these processes around both compliance and data simultaneously? So BridgeFT and SmartRIA have partnered to bring a joint solution to advisors. And Shannon, if you could kind of start us off by talking a little bit about what are some of the benefits of working with us on this partnership in terms of getting the firms up and running.
Yeah, so from our side, it really becomes the initial implementation of access of the information at the custodian level. It's great because many of them have solved that challenge by allowing you to go into that custodial site and provide like something like Bridge Financial Technologies to become a third party of that data. Once that's set up and turned on, we have direct access to that information. And once we have that, we can go ahead and start sharing all of that information also with SmartRIA. Additional areas when we think about, more specifically around the transition of implementation and integration around Bridge Financial Technologies for that portfolio accounting and management fee billing process that we provide for financial advisors today. Many advisors have gone through a migration. They know the burden that's going on, and we take a lot of the work effort off of you and put that on us. So one example is historical performance. We get the data out, we can transition that over. Household names, management fee billing specs that you have assigned. All of that is a part of our business process to make sure that we don't put all these difficult things onto you, and we help assist in managing that as a part of our business process to bring you aboard and not make this take so long of a challenge to transition from one technology component to another. And I think from SmartRIA, I guess, how does that work for you?
Sure. So, absolutely, it is a fractured market, and having multiple different data sources coming together into one place just makes sense, especially when you're trying to see from a high level point of view everything that's happening around a certain thing. So with SmartRIA, having an integration with BridgeFT and with your CRMs allows us to make sure that your household data is coming in. We know where you are, where your clients are, so we can help you with things like de minimis. And at the same time, we're pulling in data from BridgeFT, so we can see things like how frequently are accounts being traded, is your fiduciary duty being met there, combining that into your annual reviews, having the ability to really use the data that you're using in different systems in the context of compliance, because aspects of CRM data are important aspects of account and position data important. So really just pulling all of that together and putting it into a logical, easy to understand format that that's going to give you that surveillance. And without that single source, you're trying to do that with maybe going into CRMs and going into your billing and performance solution, using Excel spreadsheets and trying to pull all that together into a logical workflow that you can use. And you're having to email and get people to give you information. It's just really difficult to maintain, especially as you're growing. So that's really where an integration like the one that we have with BridgeFT becomes really powerful, because we're giving you that centralized repository of all the information you need.
Yeah, absolutely, Mac. I think that makes a ton of sense. And then there are obviously other benefits outside of kind of the data flows and everything that we've talked about to the advisor. Could you speak a little bit towards some of the other kind of ROI you're seeing firms have when working with this partnership?
Absolutely. We hear it a lot, but the general consensus from our customers is when they are using multiple systems to try to maintain surveillance for the purpose of compliance management, it takes a long time. If you're using solutions that you're trying to fit into that context, instead of using a solution that is made for that context, it's going to take you longer than if you're using a solution that is made for that context. And our customers have told us, for example, we had an SEC registered firm with about $2 billion in assets under management that had spent 10 days gathering information for their exam before they joined us and onboarded their data. And then the next exam they had the exact same type questions. It took them a few minutes to gather the information. And it's because, of course, it's built for that. And the really great thing is, if you're spending less time gathering the data, completing your workflows, and preparing for an exam, then that means you've got more time for the things that you got into this business for. You got into this business to help people manage their money, to help people to grow their money, to meet more people so you can do it for more people. And if you're spending a whole bunch of your time on compliance, that's a problem. So that's really where some of the ROI for a system like an integration between SmartRIA and BridgeFT can start to really pay off.
Got it. Thanks so much, Mac. And Shannon, did you have any additional thoughts or insights in some of the areas you've seen firms benefit from working with this integration?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that, and Matt, correct me if I'm wrong here, But it seems like the compliance from the state and the SEC are really becoming much more data driven than they were in the past. I think previously it was like they were going to show up and then they were going to ask a lot of stuff. And now is it more just like they're asking for like a preliminary amount of data before they kind of come in?
Yes, absolutely becoming more data driven. And, you know, I hesitate to speak on behalf of the regulators what they're going to ask for, but we're certainly seeing a lot of that.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you hit on the point about, where's the value of time for advisors in their business. And, I always would talk with clients and advisors about, where are they focusing their time? And it should really be focused on that client facing and revenue generating items within their time, so they can be more successful with their clients and continue to grow their business. And so many firms always ask about, what's the cost of this? I think that you should always think about like, what's the benefit that they're receiving off of this technology that they're going to leverage in their business to help them scale and grow.
Absolutely. It's tremendous when you can put more of your resources into growth instead of having to put it into trying to keep your data into a cohesive, useful format.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for going through those details, guys. So we are seeing some questions coming in. So I do want to just let everyone know, go ahead and please submit your questions via the Q&A tool, and we will get to those momentarily. Shannon, do you want to give some kind of like final thoughts around the integration and benefits to advisors?
Yeah, I think, RIAs and advisors, really are at a proliferation of change in the market space. And the new technologies that are coming out for advisors to leverage their business to scale and grow are really becoming the integration platforms of tomorrow. I mean, there's a lot of platforms out there that solve a lot of problems, but I feel there's also the new technology in how they're leveraging APIs to solve the problems instead of having to build it, allows them to focus completely on the thing that they're trying to solve in the market space. And SmartRIA is a great example of that, with our integration with BridgeFT. We solve a problem for them so they can focus on creating a better product for RIAs in the market space to solve that compliance problem.
Thanks, Shannon. Mac, any additional thoughts around the integration for advisors?
Uh, you know, thankfully, technology is continuing to get better, and it's we're happy to be providing a solution that makes it easier for you to get compliance done, because it's a significant problem. It is the number one operational problem that firms bring up, and absolutely what Shannon said is spot on. Partnerships to make sure that all of the appropriate data is in one place is what makes it really powerful. So we're grateful for our relationship with Bridge.
Thanks, Mac. So then we're going to go ahead and move into the live Q&A portion of the session. So everyone, again, if you have any questions, go ahead and submit them now. So it looks like the first one that we're going to go ahead and answer live. Shannon, this would be directed to you. Someone asks, how does BridgeFT compare with solutions provided by Orion or Black Diamond?
Yeah, great question. I think that you need to take a look at our solution and compare it to Orion and Black Diamond and see what you really need to service your client, what you want to deliver to your client as your story, how it's going to support your business practice. Costs are always something that everybody wants to think about also. So there's a lot of things that you need to think about. And I think each firm is different on how they're going to leverage a portfolio accounting system to solve the operational problems in their business today. I think a great example is when working with advisors, have that list of must-haves and like-to-haves, when going through a review process, to see if it's going to solve the problems for you and allow your firm to kind of grow their business. But everybody's providing a very successful technology out in the market space, but it's really more about the fit for your firm as compared to just one technology compared to the other.
Got it. Thanks, Shannon. So that actually was our only question that was submitted during the session. However, I did want to let everyone on today's call know that you will be receiving a follow-up email. So if you have any questions on the content covered that you weren't able to bring up today, you can go ahead and just reply to that email, and I'll make sure to get that directed to the correct person that can answer that for you. And did want to quickly overview just some contact information here. If you're interested in learning more about SmartRIA, please go ahead and visit their website, as well as if you're interested in learning more about BridgeFT, you can visit our website or get in contact with our sales team directly to schedule a demo of the platform. Shannon and Mac, I wanted to say thank you both so much for presenting today. Any final thoughts for our audience as we conclude today?
Thank you, Carolyn. It's a pleasure to be here, and look forward to speaking with people if they have any questions.
All right.
See where the market's closing today. I think that's the last thing in the next couple of minutes I want to know. Everybody, thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Yeah, yep. Thank you guys. And
thank you
for joining us. Bye now.
Bye.